A social worker has been working in individual therapy with a client for 6 weeks, and they have developed a good therapeutic relationship. In the 7th session, the social worker confronts the client about a behavior that she believes is contributing to his problem. The client reacts defensively and becomes angry. What should the social worker do first? Again, this is another first question. So the STEM is asking, what should the social worker do first? If you remember, we can safely assume there's going to be more than one good answer. Maybe more than one thing that we will do. So we need to really thoroughly read each option. Okay. Explore what underlies the client's reaction. Recognize her error, apologize, and shift the focus to another topic. Reframe what she did as a sign of concern for the client. Challenge the client's avoidance of change. So let's take a look here. Let's even think about what confrontation is. So confrontation in social work has a different meaning than what we might think of in terms of confrontation in our culture. That usually has a negative meaning to it. However, confrontation in social work can be a very effective strategy where you are challenging the discrepancy between what a client's actions and behaviors are and how it doesn't line up with their overall goals. And so that's what she's doing here. A good rule of thumb when using confrontation is making sure that you have a good therapeutic relationship established so that the client can hear it well and even know a place where you're coming from with it, more than likely. So here we know that they've been working together for 6 weeks and they've developed a good therapeutic relationship. So we already know that. A lot of times I tell customers that I work with or students that I work with is that pay attention when it says how long you've been working with a client or family in the question, that's in there for a reason. So if it says they've been working together for 1 session or 6 months, or in this case 6 weeks, that's very telling. So even without it saying that they have developed a good therapeutic relationship, I think I can safely assume, unless stated otherwise, that working together for 6 weeks, that continuation of coming back, that they do have a good therapeutic relationship. So just keep that in mind. Pay attention to the time frame that it gives you of the services provided for that client. Okay, so let's take a look here. The client reacts defensively and becomes angry when the social worker confronts them about a behavior. So what should we do first? So let's break these down. Explore what underlies the client's reaction. Possibly, I will want to know what made them so angry. Recognize her error, apologize, and shift the focus to another topic. Not necessarily. As I've described confrontation to you all and the parameters or kind of the so-called rules that are designed to be done with confrontation, I don't believe this social worker has done anything wrong. So there is no error or no need to apologize here. Shifting the focus to another topic, too, would be not addressing what's going on currently. So that's not appropriate. I'm going to rule out B. C, reframe what she did as a sign of concern for the client. I think that's a good one, too. Possibly the client is misunderstanding what she is trying to do here. So it might be good to clarify or reframe what she has done. Challenge the client's avoidance of change. So challenge. That's another really way to confront what is going on here. I'm going to rule that one out too, because if the first time that we confront the client results in this, with the client's reaction being very defensive and angry, I'm not going to want to follow up with the next step, confronting again or challenging that. So I'm going to rule out B and D, and then that leaves me with explore what underlies the client's reaction and reframe what she did as a sign of concern for the client. This is a great example of how there's more than one good answer. I think both of these are things that I'm going to want to do fairly quickly in this situation. But now I'm literally going to have to pick which one comes before the other. And in this situation, I think reframing what I did as a concern for the client, letting them know why I did what I did, why it's an effective strategy, that's going to help them to clarify any misunderstanding, anything that they weren't or that they were unsure about, to possibly help. Whereas if I move on first, exploring what underlies the client's reaction, we're going to focus more heavily on the anger and defensiveness. And again, it might be coming from misunderstanding. So let's clarify and clear that up first, and then allow them to share what they're thinking and feeling. So the correct answer is C. This intervention could help deflect the client's defensiveness and open the door for a discussion about what happened. And that's exactly what we want to do here. And as I mentioned earlier, confrontation is a skill that allows the social worker to point out discrepancies to the client. Confrontation is an effective tool, but should only be used once a therapeutic relationship has been established. So that is in there for a reason, up there where it says that they've been working together for 6 weeks and have developed that good therapeutic relationship. That helps you automatically rule out B, recognizing that this is not an error, no need to apologize because it was a good effective strategy. All right, next question. In the first interview, a client who works as a city bus driver reports that he drinks alcohol every day. What should the social worker do first? Another first one. We can safely assume there's going to be more than one good answer or more than one thing I am going to do. Get an abstinence contract. Refer the client to AA. Find out more about the client's drinking and confront the client about the dangers of drinking and driving. Okay. I can already see the two that are possibly things I could do in the future, depending on once I know more information, but they are way too soon to be done appropriately now, and that's get an abstinence contract. I don't know how much they're drinking, to what degree they're drinking, when they're drinking. There's so much information I don't know. So to get them to sign an abstinence contract would not be appropriate at this time. Refer the client to AA is very premature in action. So those two I can automatically rule out. So then if I look at the other two, find out more about the client's drinking and confront the client about the dangers of drinking and driving. Let's see here. What does D do? This one is easy for us all to do. It's very common for us all to fall into. That is making an assumption here. Confront the client about dangers of drinking and driving. That is an assumption because we don't know. If you look at just the two sentences that are in this question, there's no mention of when he's drinking, if he's driving while drinking, anything like that. When I have used this question with working with individual students, I hear a lot of, well, what if he's drinking before his shift? What if he's drinking while transporting citizens around the community? And so that what if is always a key word when I hear students say that out loud, because it means they're overanalyzing. We are adding more into the question than what is there. For the purpose or for the success of this exam, it's important that we only answer based on the information that we have in the question. And I know that's easier said than done. In real life, we know more information when we are making decisions. But again, this exam is designed to help us, for them to see if we can think critically through a multiple choice exam. And so our job here is to think critically about these two sentences and make a decision off that on what should the social worker do first, knowing this limited information. So be careful. If you ever find yourself saying, well, what if this or what if that, you're more than likely overthinking or overanalyzing that question. Sometimes even that concern can easily be overlooked by us. So it's important to share your thought process sometimes out loud with other people. And they can easily see, are you making assumptions? Are you overthinking? So I'd encourage you to study with others at times and share how you're coming to the answers for the questions that you're reviewing. Okay, so we can then rule out, since D is an assumption, we are not going to confront the client about the dangers of drinking and driving because we don't even know if that's something that's occurring here. So that leaves us with find out more about the client's drinking. And that makes sense. That's exactly what we should be doing here. The client's statement that he drinks alcohol every day needs to be clarified. With any client who makes a statement like this, the first intervention is to gather more information about the extent and pattern of his alcohol use. And this assessment must be completed before an intervention can be determined.